My name is Renee Mahaffey Harris, and I am the president and CEO of the Center for Closing the Health Gap. The Health Gap is an organization dedicated to leading the efforts to eliminate racial and ethnic health disparities through education, outreach, and advocacy. Our goal is to equip individuals with the tools to be a part of their own health solutions. COVID-19 has done, it is a devastation to our country, but what it has done is put a big light, a bright shining light on the disparities that persist amongst Black and Brown and other minority populations across this country. I think people always understood what health disparities were, but really didn't understand how those compounding factors could contribute to a more immediate higher morbidity rate, as was displayed and resulted from COVID-19. You have all these compounding factors, and some of those factors contribute to higher rates of stress, and that resulted clearly from the determinative factors that already persisted, from lack of transportation to poor housing to food insecurity. And so when you compound those factors with higher rates of mortality and morbidity amongst most of the major diseases, from diabetes to heart disease to hypertension, you can see how those compounding factors played a role in the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 amongst Black and Brown people in this country and in our own community. From the moment that we had our shutdown, I immediately went into the Renee mode, as I call myself, and said, well, what are we going to do? And so I called upon what I felt were organizations that serve the Black community. I called upon the African American Chamber. I called upon the Urban League of Greater Cincinnati. I called upon the NAACP. I called upon the Cincinnati Medical Association, which is the Association of Black Physicians. And I said, what can we do together to make sure that we can get trusted information out through a website? And so we launched COVID-19communityresources.com. It was really important for us to figure out how to get information through what we call a trusted source through the COVID-19communityresources.com site. Well, I think one of the things I'm most proud of immediately comes to mind is my mom. I lost my mom a few months ago, and being a first-generation college graduate, I think is one of my biggest accomplishments when I think back to her coming from the South and the struggles of really graduating from high school and her and my dad making it possible for me to be able to go to college and be a first-generation graduate. I think COVID-19 has forced our country, this world, to understand that it is about humanity. I think because we live in a capitalistic society, individualism sometimes precedes us thinking of our brothers and our sisters and what we each need. But through COVID-19, I've seen some miraculous efforts at looking at all of us as one human being, the humanity of each of us. And that's really what it's about. It's saving lives. And I think Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would, at this point, looking at this pandemic in our country, his message of us being one human being, that the humanity of us all equals the success of us all.